So we're going to demonstrate today the use of, this is a rim height gauge. It's specifically used to measure the rim height on a cup, as you can see. And its uses are fairly straightforward, but I want to make sure that we cover all the steps to do this successfully. So the first thing that you want to do, you notice you'll have two arms and they are adjustable. You can just loosen these knobs here. You can move these back and forth across the width. So what we do want to ensure is that we're centered as much as possible between the two arms and the actual indicator tip. So you know, it's kind of an eyeball measurement. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it should be generally centered as much as we can get that. So I'm going to have to readjust a little bit to get that to work the way that we're intending it to. And first little estimate. There we go. And then we tighten it, and we make sure that we can do this, and you'll see that the cup rocks back and forth. That means that it's generally going to be able to capture this. The next step is going to be when we turn it on, we make sure that it reads 0 when the anvil is all the way down onto this measurement edge. And you'll notice it reads zeros all the way across. In order to make a repeatable measurement and do it so that nothing is disrupting anything or you're not knocking anything off, you want to gently push the cup up so that the rim is right on top of the flat measurement surface or the anvil. And then we want to lower the indicator tip with whatever handle that we have gently to the top of the rim. And you should be able to get your measurement there. If you do it too hard, you're going to displace the cup, and you don't want to do that. So again, back to gently put it here and then let it come to rest. And there's our measurement. So I'm just going to cover really quickly how to set the 0 for this indicator. Obviously you want to make sure that there's no debris and this is clear and clean, and the actual tip is clear and clean, has nothing on it. Once you allow that to come to rest on top of this measurement surface, you should read a 0. If you're not reading a 0, which I'm not reading a 0, I'm reading a little bit under, I'm going to hit this blue button on this indicator to origin, and what that's going to do is that's going to 0 it for us.
I'll demonstrate how to take the indicator off. You will need a 5/32 Allen wrench, and it's just one bolt right back here. And this will be the demonstration how to take the arms off. This is just the screw plugs here. Okay, now I'll demonstrate how to take the indicator mounting block off. For this you will need a 1/8 Allen wrench, and there's 2 bolts located on the back. So you just turn it around and they're right here. Now we'll be taking off the base plate. For this you need a 5/32 Allen wrench. And this is 2 pieces. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to take the shoulder off. This is with the 5/32 Allen wrench. Spin this here, it's just 2 bolts. Okay, now I'm going to remove the base. You need a 5/32 Allen wrench for this. Just tip it over. There's 2 bolts here. Normally they'd be the same color.
So what we're going to demonstrate here is reassembly process. And we're going to start with the base and the post or pillar. And you'll notice that I have it facing the two screws holes facing the front, and this is the mounting block holes for the block for the indicator. So this will go like this, this will go like this, and I'm going to get a screw through here so I can get something started. And this is a 1/4 20 flathead screw, and this is a 5 30-seconds Allen wrench, and we're just going to get those down, and then we're going to snug it because the base and this primary post are supporting the weight of the rest of the gauge. So we're going to snug this up. Now we're going to demonstrate the assembly of the shoulder. You'll notice that these two holes line up with the two holes behind. Once we get it started, and just like with the base, we give it that last little snugging tweak. So we're going to demonstrate the mounting block assembly. And this is very important that you make sure that the thin side is the side that gets mounted to the shoulder first, and that the thicker side hangs down in front of it. All right, so you'll see thin side to the back and mount it here, and then the thick side is going to overhang. And again, it is critically important that this gets assembled correctly, because if you do not assemble it correctly, your cup will not come up to the appropriate level when it's resting on the arms of the device. Once they're installed, it'll be short about half of this thickness, and you won't be able to make the measurement. So apply this and give it a good snug so it doesn't move, and then you have the actual anvil. But this is the actual measurement surface. It mounts like this. Make sure you do not mount it like this, because then again it will not reach the arms and you won't be able to make the measurement. Put this in place. Get it centered in the screw holes. And down. And the screws will center it, so you don't really have to worry about left or right or anything. Just once it's tightened down, you give it a snug, and it does not move. Be careful, that could be a little sharp. And now I'm going to demonstrate the assembly of the mounting block to the rest of the assembly. You'll notice that there is a radius on the outside, and there's a radius here. You want those to match up. We're going to go ahead and put the screw in from the back, or I should say the mounting bolt in from the back. And we'll get that mounted. It's pretty important to make sure that this is mounted very securely, because the indicator is on it, and if there's any movement that can make it, that can change the indicator reading, that would be bad. So we want to make sure that this mounting block is secure. So I'm going to demonstrate just the application of the tip that you're going to need for this. And one of the things you want to make sure that you observe, by the way, this is a 3 30-seconds Allen wrench. It looks like a 632 screw to put that on. And you want to make sure that you do this relatively carefully, because if you put too much torque on this, there is the opportunity to twist or rotate the shaft internally, and that will damage the indicator. So we want to do this just so that it's tight and doesn't rotate, and make sure that it is always clean and free of debris whenever you're making your measurement. So we're going to mount the lug back to the mounting hole, and we're going to put this in, and you'll notice it moves back and forth, and the way to keep that from moving back and forth is that when we mount it, use a gauge pin, 0.195 inch gauge pin, in order to keep that from rotating and to make sure that it is aligned so that it is the back of the lug plate is parallel to the mounting block. I slide a gauge pin in. I make sure it's making contact, and I'm just going to finish tightening the mounting fastener, and then snug it, and remove that gauge pin. Now you'll notice that this is parallel to the back, and we don't have the movement that would create a measurement error. So now I'm going to mount the arms onto the shoulders, or the shoulder, which is basically, you'll see there's a slot here, and I just put it in place, and I put the knob into the arm just to secure it. And we'll do this to the other side as well. And here it is, fully assembled. That's what it should look like. So I wanted to explain a couple of things. On your indicator, you may not have this feature, which makes it a little bit easier to use, because typically you're probably pushing it from the bottom, which I'm not going to recommend. What I will recommend is that there's an extension piece that can be purchased, and I can point you out to an appropriate part number. And this comes with every single indicator. It's actually a tip, but we're going to use it as a handle in this particular case. And so with both of those assembled or screwed together, I'm going to put this into the top and just, secure it just barely finger tight. That way I can lift it from the top and allow it to come back down onto the base. And at that point, I can zero it. Since it's on the anvil, it's zeroed, and that should work.